In the previous lecture, while deriving the momentum equation, I have told you that we have considered only the electromagnetic force acting on the moving plasma fluid. But to get the exact momentum equation, we must consider the mechanical forces acting on the fluid. So in this lecture, I am just going to discuss those mechanical forces which must be taken into account to find the momentum equation. In this regard, actually there are three mechanical forces acting on our plasma fluid. They are collision force, gravitational force, and pressure force. So first of all, we are just going to consider the collision force acting on the plasma fluid. Actually, the collision force depends on velocity, and actually it is proportional to velocity but in opposite direction. So you can say collision force is proportional to velocity and oppositely directed. It means this force acts in the direction opposite to the velocity of the average velocity. I have considered average velocity of the fluid motion. So in this case, the force acting on the plasma fluid will be proportional to minus V. Minus sign indicates that this force is acting in opposite direction of the velocity. And instead of F, we should write m dv by dt. So this m dv by dt is proportional to minus v. And when we replace this sign of proportionality, there should be a constant, and let us say that constant is Kc. So m dv by dt will be equal to minus Kc into V. The subscript C actually refers collision, and therefore we will have dV by dt. This will be equal to minus Kc over m into V. Actually, this term Kc by m has dimensions of frequency, and so we denote this ratio as minus nu c into V. So just this is second lecture, so I am just changing the equation number. Let us say this is equation number 1. Now we know that this dV by dt is what? This is actually del V by del t plus V dot del V. So if we will include this collision force in the momentum equation, just you should know this equation has been derived on the assumption that only collision force is acting. Just in the previous lecture you have seen, I have considered only electromagnetic force was acting. In that condition, we have calculated the value of dV by dt, and in this case we have calculated this dV by dt considering only the collision force is acting. But if now we will consider that the collision force is acting simultaneously with the electromagnetic force, then what will be the equation of motion? That will be, so del V by del T plus V dot del V, and this will be equal to Q over M E plus V cross B and minus nu C into V. Actually, this will be the momentum equation if one consider that only the electromagnetic force and the collision force is acting. So here we have considered the contribution of collision force and the electromagnetic force. Then this will be the momentum equation. But we know that another important mechanical force which affect the motion of the fluid is gravitational force. So we should also consider the gravitational force acting on the fluid. So this is gravitational force. Gravitational force. Actually, to include gravitational force, acceleration due to gravity, which we denote by the symbol small g, should be added in the RHS of the equation which I have obtained here, because you know acceleration term dv by dt in case of gravitational force will be what? That will be simply equal to g. So to include gravitational force, acceleration due to gravity, g must be added in the RHS of the equation of motion, as in this case this dv by dt will be simply equal to g. Here I am just again repeating this, that when we will consider only the effect of gravitational force, then what will be the acceleration? Then acceleration will be simply g. But now we are considering that the conducting fluid plasma is under electromagnetic force, under collision force, under gravitational force. If all these three forces act simultaneously, then what will be the equation of motion? Then we should add this term g in the RHS of the equation of motion. So taking the gravitational force into account, we will have del V by del T plus V dot del V equal to Q over M E plus V cross B minus nu C into V plus G. Actually, this will be the momentum equation if we consider only these three forces, electromagnetic force, collision force and gravitational force, into account. But we know an important mechanical force which arises due to pressure gradient, due to difference in pressure, and this force is actually most important mechanical force affecting the motion of the plasma fluid. So we should definitely take into account this pressure force to find the exact form of the momentum equation. So I am now considering the next mechanical force, which is called pressure force. So let us consider a fluid, plasma fluid is flowing, and to find the pressure force we just consider a fluid parallelepiped. See the figure, this O, A, B, C, D, E, F, G is a fluid parallelepiped. You may say it is a cuboid, or in the form of a cube you can take this volume. Actually this is a volume element of the fluid. And let us consider the fluid is flowing in this region, and we have considered a volume element in that flowing fluid. And for simplicity I have just taken the origin of the coordinate system at one of the corners of this parallelepiped at point O. And here are three coordinate axes, x-axis, y-axis and z-axis, as you are seeing in this figure. So let us consider that the pressure acting on the face OABC, this face OABC, a pressure is acting which is P, and this acts from left to right. Now, due to change in position, there will be a change in pressure, and we consider that del P by del X is the pressure gradient. Pressure gradient means what? Pressure gradient means change in pressure due to change in unit distance. So in x direction we have considered the pressure gradient as del P by del X. So if we will move from O to D, that is from the face OABC to the face DEFG, in that condition what will be the change in pressure? That will be in fact del P by del X into dx, because due to unit change in pressure, unit change in distance, not pressure, the pressure change is del P by del X, and that is called actually pressure gradient. So due to a change in distance by dx, the change in pressure will be del P by del X into dx. See here why I have written this pressure gradient del P by del X, not dP by dx, because pressure P will be a function of x, y and z, all the three independent variables. So here I am just considering the variation in pressure or change in pressure in x direction. So we have assumed that y and z are constant, and hence this partial derivative defines the pressure gradient. So you should write del P by del X as pressure gradient, never dP by dx. And now we will find the net force acting on this volume element in x direction. And when the force acting in x direction we will calculate, so with analogy of that result we can find the expression for the force acting on this volume element in y direction and in z direction. And after that the net force acting on this volume element can be calculated by the vector addition of the forces. So let us consider a volume element OABC DEF of volume dV equal to dx into dy into dz. See here, in fact the length of this parallelepiped in x direction I have assumed dx, in y direction it is dy, and in z direction it is dz. So volume of this volume element will be simply dx into dy into dz in Cartesian coordinate. Now, as I have told you that the pressure acting on this surface OABC, and you know pressure always acts normal to the surface, so this is the normal pressure acting on the face OABC, and that is P, and on the face DEFG it is P plus del P by del x into dx, which I have explained that I have assumed in x direction the pressure gradient is del P by del x. So here the pressure will be changed by the value del P by del x into dx, and so this will be P plus del P by del x into dx. So now let us write this assumptions that let del P by del x equal to pressure gradient in x direction. Pressure gradient in x direction. P equal to pressure acting on the face OABC. Therefore, P plus del P by del x into dx. How this term arises, I have just explained it. This will be the pressure acting on the face DEFG. So you can see from the figure what will be the net force acting in the direction x-axis. You know, when we will multiply the area of the face OABC or the DEFG, in fact the area of both of these faces are same, and what is that? You can see here the area of this face will be what? As you know, this length is dy and this is dz. So area of this face OABC is dy into dz, and area of this face DEFG is also dy into dz. So when we will multiply the pressure by this area, we will get the force. So net force acting on the volume element, or you may say the parallelopiped, in x direction. What is the net force acting in this direction? Actually, this force I am writing here as Fx. And as if you see in this simplified figure, just I am writing it as a point mass, and in this direction you know the force acting on the volume element is P times of dy into dz, and in this negative x direction this is P plus del P by del x into dx times dy dz. This is just free body diagram. So the net force in positive x direction will be what? We will subtract this term, or you can say the force acting in negative x direction will be subtracted from the force acting in positive x direction. So Fx will be what? This will be P into dy into dz minus P plus del P by del x dx into dy into dz. You can see here that this is P dy dz minus P dy dz minus del P by del x dx into dy into dz. Now this P into dy dz will be cancelled out, and we will have Fx equal to minus del P by del x into dv. And what is this dv? Actually this dv means dx into dy into dz, and actually this is the volume of that volume element. So I have just calculated the force acting on this fluid volume element in x direction, and now we can find the volume, find the force acting on this volume element in y direction and in z direction in similar manner. So in similar manner you can say similarly if we assume that the force acting in y direction is Fy and in z direction it is Fz, then you can write on the basis of the above result that Fy is equal to what? That will be simply minus del P by del y, just replace the x by y, times dv. And this is say 2, and Fz will be minus del P by del z dv. This is equation 3. So I have calculated the force acting on this volume element due to the pressure difference or pressure gradient in x direction, in y direction and in z direction. So now we can calculate the net force acting on this parallelepiped or in this on this volume element. So the net force acting on this volume element if we write the net force as F, this F will be what? This is Fxi plus Fyj plus Fzk. And as I have calculated the value of Fx, Fy and Fz, so let us substitute those values. You see that dV is the common factor, and minus can be also taken as a common factor. So this will be simply del P by del x, del P by del x I plus del P by del y j plus del P by del z k dv. And what is this? Actually, the bracketed term is simply gradient of P. So we may write it as minus del P dV. And this is actually net force acting on the fluid element or the parallelepiped. Now, if we want to find the acceleration term, that is dv by dt, actually dv by dt comes into our momentum equation. So we can now just find the value of dv by dt. So dv by dt will be what? This will be actually equal to F divided by dm. Here actually dm is mass of the volume element. This is mass of the fluid. Fluid means plasma fluid in the volume element. And we know this mass is equal to density into volume. So we can write dm equal to rho into dv. Now let us substitute the value of F as you have calculated above. So this dv by dt will be equal to what? As you know, this F is, see here, we have calculated that F is minus del P dv. So dv by dt will be minus del P dv and divided by rho dv. And you can see finally we get this dv by dt is equal to what? This is minus del P by rho. And now we will substitute this value. You can say if we consider that the motion of the fluid is taking place only due to the pressure gradient, then what will be our equation of motion? Then this will be equation of motion. But here we have considered that the fluid is acted upon by three forces simultaneously. First one was electromagnetic force, second one was collision force, third one was gravitational force. Now I am considering the force due to the pressure gradient. So if all these forces will act on the flowing fluid simultaneously, then what will be the equation of motion? Definitely in the previous equation of motion, we will add this term in the RHS of the equation of motion. So we have, what will be our result? dv by dt is actually equal to del v by del t plus v dot del, here is dot, v dot del v, and this is equal to, see the above equation, this is q by m into E plus V cross B minus nu C into V plus G, and now this term will be added minus del P by rho. And actually this is the momentum equation which I have written in the first lecture of this magnetohydrodynamics. So this equation is known as momentum equation. Momentum equation. So I hope you have understand the derivation of this very equation. In fact, the momentum equation is the first MHD equation, and this is the most important MHD equation, and we have just derived it, and I hope you have understand the steps how this equation is derived. Now the second MHD equation is actually known as Langevin equation. Langevin equation. This is second MHD equation. Actually, Langevin equation is just a special case of momentum equation. When the gravitational and pressure force are neglected, then the momentum equation becomes Langevin equation. So there is no need of a independent derivation of this equation. We will just neglect the force due to gravitation and force due to pressure, and after neglecting these two forces, we will consider the momentum equation, and another consideration is also taken into account, that in first order consideration, the term v dot del v, which is actually a quadratic term. In first order consideration, we do not take into account the quadratic term. So if that quadratic term is also neglected, it means the space variation of velocity is neglected. In that condition, our momentum equation becomes Langevin equation. So I am just mentioning what I have told you just now. So let the gravitational force and the pressure force are neglected. In this condition, momentum equation becomes, if we will neglect these two forces, what will be our momentum equation? That will be simply del v by del t plus v dot del v equal to q over m E plus v cross b minus nu c into v. Say this is equation 1. Now, as I have told you, under the first order consideration, this term is neglected because it is a quadratic term, and in first order consideration, we neglect the quadratic term as v dot del v is a quadratic term. So we can neglect it in the first order consideration. In the first order first order consideration. So what will be our equation? Then our equation will become del V by del T equal to Q over M E plus V cross B minus nu C into V. Actually, this equation is known as Langevin equation. This is Langevin equation. Langevin equation. And this is the second MHD equation. And as I have told you, Langevin equation is just a special case of momentum equation. As you have seen here, we have just neglected the force due to gravitation, or you can say gravitational force, and pressure force, and then we consider the first order consideration in which this quadratic term is neglected. After these three considerations, our momentum equation becomes Langevin equation. But this equation has also a great importance in the magnetohydrodynamics, so it has independent significances. So these are the two equations which are in fact MHD equations, but in the next lecture we will see the other MHD equations, which will in fact the continuity equation and the Maxwell's equation. Just I have told you in the first lecture that in dealing with the electromagnetic phenomena, definitely we have to use Maxwell's equation. So Maxwell's equation are also in the set of MHD equation.